Well, hi everybody, welcome to Sam's Doing Stuff. What am I doing today? Nothing. Yeah, well, it's the way life goes, you know? Sometimes things happen. My daughter, sick from school. I've got 2 videos in the works, and I was all loaded up to get off site and do some work, and she's home from school, so that's my responsibility. I'm staying home with her and taking care of her. So because of that, I wanted to talk to you guys about a lot of stuff that I have seen in regards to buying bigger machinery, or even subcompact machinery. And believe me, it's been on my mind for a long time, and how big of a machine I should buy and why should I buy a bigger machine. So let's start with the smallest, okay? Why even buy a subcompact tractor when everybody out there is telling you, buy the biggest machine you can afford. Think about what tractor you want and buy one size bigger. The same goes for building a shed, If you think you need a 20 by 40, build a 40 by 80. And while that rule of thumb does apply most of the times, it doesn't always apply with machinery. Why did I buy a subcompact tractor? Well, there's guys that own these things from whether you've got like a half an acre or an acre up to 10 acres. And let me tell you, from a guy that when I moved into my first acreage of 3 acres, I knew right off the bat that I was going to need some kind of a machine to help me out in just plowing the driveway and mowing the lawn. And those 2 things definitely were taken care of by this Kubota BX subcompact tractor, and then some. It opened my eyes to the, millions of things practically that a subcompact tractor could do. So then you've got, you know what type of people we are. We do things ourselves. We like to homestead. We like to grow our own food. We like to create firewood. We like to make our own lumber. You're going to fall into one of those categories, okay? And having a machine that can help you do those things is a big part of it. So let's talk tractors specifically, first of all. Now, like I said, I've got a subcompact tractor when I started with 3 acres, and I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about, I'd really like to have a bigger tractor. It would make the chores around here easier. So when you're thinking about a tractor, there's one major thing that we all go to immediately in our heads. I want a tractor that can lift more weight. Come on, admit it. That's what you're looking at. You see this little subcompact tractor and it lifts 500 pounds, and there's no way on earth I could lift 500 pounds on my own without some kind of mechanical advantage. So having a tractor that can lift it for me is gonna save my back. Well, you use it for a while and you're like, what? Like something that can lift more. The first thing you need to realize with a tractor is not designed with the front loader as its first and foremost tool. It was designed to use the 3-point hitch more than anything, and to pull implements for farming and for, taking care of land and homesteading. That's what a tractor is really designed for. The front loader was kind of an afterthought, and it's really not a machine that was designed for heavy lifting or the heaviest of lifting. So if that's what you're going for, you got a smaller tractor, maybe compact or subcompact, and you're thinking like I am, I'd really like to step up. Don't let that front loader dictate what type of machine you're going to buy. I don't think that's the right way to think of it. You've got to think about the myriad of things you're going to do with that machine first. What am I really going to use this tractor for? Do I need it for taking care of my entire property, or do I just want something that's going to lift heavier loads? Because honestly, if you want something that's just going to lift heavier loads, you really ought to look into different types of machinery. You ought to look into mini skid steers or track loaders, or an excavator, a mini excavator. For the amount of money you're going to spend to get the front load lifter capacity from a tractor, think about the size of tractor you really need to get to match those other machines. If that's your number one goal, is to be able to lift things, you're not thinking tractor, you're thinking bigger machines. And you really, the biggest bang for the buck in lifting capacity is a mini excavator. But Sam, I really love my tractor and I just want it to do more. Okay, well really, if that's what you're thinking, and that's where I'm thinking, honestly, I'd love to be able to lift more weight, but you know, doing firewood, I can always cut things into smaller pieces if I cannot manage it with the machine I have. And that's what I've been doing for years with this subcompact tractor. You just take smaller bites and it works. So if you really have to lift large objects and you can't cut it into smaller pieces, maybe you've got a mill, you know, and you want to be able to lift really large logs and get some nice boards out of some big red oak, then gosh, I still think a mini excavator is probably your best bet. If you ever watch Hometown Acres and you see Adam moving around logs, or watch Outdoors with the Morgans and see him moving logs with his mini excavator, you just don't get more strength and finesse. You just don't. For the buck, I'm just my opinion, my advice here, take it for what you will. You could do it with a compact track loader, sure. It's a little more jerky and a little less precise. Maybe with one of those articulated loaders, you know what I'm talking about, the Avant or something like that, they lift more than a tractor. But with all of those machines, if you're gonna steer all of your money towards those machines, you're gonna lose your utility of your tractor. You know, it's not gonna do all the things that a tractor can do. It's not gonna be that Swiss Army knife that you have in a tractor with all the implements you can put on it and all the different things you do with your tractor. You know, you're spending all that money just to be able to lift. And if that's the most important thing to you, once again, you know, go for it. I just want to give you the advice that maybe a tractor's not the way to go, because if you want to get up into that same category of lifting capacity, and you're going from a smaller tractor, maybe you've got a B series or whatever, John Deere's 20 series, you know, you're gonna have to jump at least 2 categories. You know, I would have to go from a BX to lift as much as a track loader, probably up to the M series, you know? It's really that big of a deal. And now you're talking the same money, you know, you're pushing your tractor to a size that's gonna be huge, absolutely huge. You know, it's not gonna fit in your garage anymore, that's for sure. So think about that. The size of the tractor you'd have to get to lift as much as a mini excavator, which can fit in a garage. A lot of mini excavators can fit in a tall garage, you know. There's certainly not as much room as a tractor's gonna take up. And you get into that size tractor, you're not driving it on your lawn anymore. Not if you want your lawn to look nice. No, they're gonna do a lot of damage. A larger tractor is gonna make ruts. It's gonna mess up your manicured lawn. So now you might even have to have a different machine to run on your lawn. You know, I use this machine to move heavy planters off the front porch, and I don't worry about messing up my lawn. So you really have to take that into consideration, the size of the machine, what you're going to use it for, where you're going to use it. Now, with all that said, if you're starting to think the way I am, and I don't have a mill, I just want to be able to maybe manage more firewood at a time. I'd like to be able to lift IBC totes and move them around, maybe even dump them. You know, maybe I could get away with an L series, maybe not even a Grand L, maybe like an LX. An LX is rated for 2,000 pound lift capacity. You know, I think I could manage a decent sized basket of firewood in an IBC tote, maybe one of the 275 gallon ones. I could move larger logs. I could hold them up while I'm cutting them. I could do a lot more than I can with this BX. And it can also power much broader range of implements. Like off the back, you could put a bigger, you know, brush hog. With a BX, you're only gonna be able to do a 4-foot brush hog. With an LX, especially something like the 4020, you know, you could do an 80-inch mower off the back of that thing. So you're opening yourself up to a lot more than just the lift capacity if you're going with a tractor, and you're going to use it for a lot more than just one specific thing. So also, these decisions are a big chunk of change. Yeah, it's a lot of money. We spend more on equipment than a lot of people do on their cars. It's true. And I'm willing to do that. I'm always willing to spend money if it saves me time and if it saves my back, because I'm not getting any younger and time is of the essence. I want to be able to do things in a timely manner, so I'm not spending my whole day, you know, just mowing. I want to be able to save my back. I'm not getting any younger again. I can lift so much, but you know, if a machine is going to save me and make things a lot more comfortable, then that's a good reason to spend my money. Another thing for me personally is I'm a cash only type guy. So the only type of financing I accept is 0%, because that is cash. So like I said, cash only. So you're gonna throw a big investment into something, you gotta make sure that it's gonna be something that is really worth all the time it took you to save up and raise that money, that you're going to put it into something that's going to save you that time and that agony down the road. And of course you're going to enjoy it. We all love working with machinery. So anyway, if you're in the same boat I am, and believe me, like I said, I'm thinking about this long term. I'm a 5-year plan type of guy, and that's definitely in my 5-year plan, is to get a bigger piece of machinery. You know, I've got the use of that excavator, my brother's excavator, for as long as he wants to store it here. And I'll keep using it for what I need. But the goal eventually is to be able to manage this whole property and keep it down to maybe 1 or 2 machines. You know, I've got the tractor and maybe a mower, and with 7 acres now instead of 3 acres, a larger tractor, something more comfortable with a cab that can lift a little bit more, but it's not my most important aspect, and can handle everything that I might need it to do around here. You know, that's where you really have to think, what are you going to use it for, and do you really need a bigger tractor? Well, anyway, we all want one, and I hope that at least this information gave you some insight onto it if you're thinking about it, some things to think about, and really get down to the brass tacks of it, because like I say, it's a lot of money, and you don't want that buyer's remorse. You bring that new machine home and it doesn't do what you thought it was going to do. It doesn't lift as much as you thought it was going to lift. You don't want to be disappointed and just have a lot less money in your bank account. So anyway, I hope you appreciate this. Thank you to all of you for hoping my daughter gets better. It's just a bug. She'll be doing just fine. Back to school on Monday, I'm sure. And I'll be back to work, and you'll see what I'm doing when I'm doing more stuff. See you then.